Breaking right now on Morning News Now, an intensifying fight in the Middle East. Overnight, Israel increasing its airstrikes on Gaza and renewing its call for civilians to flee south. Over the weekend, humanitarian aid was allowed through Gaza's border with Egypt, but health officials warn the supplies brought in are not enough. Meanwhile, 2 American hostages are now free and back in Israel after being released by Hamas. Israeli military officials say most of the 200-plus hostages still in Gaza are still alive.
When they told me that, I was like breathing for a second because I knew, okay, so we have a hope now.
All this as anticipation grows as Israel's military presence expands along the Gaza border and the U.S. moves more military resources to the Persian Gulf for fears of a broader war.
We are concerned. We expect that there's a likelihood of escalation.
A lot to cover. Good morning. Good to have you with us on this Monday. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. Let's get right to the latest on the Israel-Hamas war. Our team is covering it all from the Middle East to Washington.
Let's begin with NBC News correspondent Jay Gray, who is in Tel Aviv. Jay, good morning to you. So Israel continues to pound targets within Gaza today. What can you tell us about those strikes, and what do we know about how soon a ground invasion could happen?
Yeah, and right, Joe, we've been talking about this ground invasion for quite some time, but now the IDF is using that language, so it would appear that it's much closer. Also, by the activities there, we know that there were 320 strikes on military positions over the last 24 hours, including tunnels, as well as some of the operational infrastructure there. We know that they continue to work along the border fence with Gaza, and that strike teams have moved across that line to search for hostages, we are told, as well as clear the area of Hamas gunmen. 1 IDF soldier was killed and 3 others injured during one of those raids. So they appear to be clearing the way to move in. In fact, some of the troops and some of the equipment on the border has been repositioned as well.
And let's talk about the situation there for civilians. They've been told to move south again or risk being seen as what Israel calls a terrorist partner. But of course, for many people inside, it's not so simple. There might not be somewhere to go in the south. And there's also fear, right, that they won't be able to ever go back home.
No, Savannah, you're absolutely right. And we say that some can't move. We're talking about tens of thousands who have family members who can't make that trip. They don't have any way to get there. They have no place to stay, most who are leaving and heading that way. And then you talk about the issue of not being able to come back. That is a very real concern, but even more so, what's going to be left when all of this is said and done to come back to? We know that there's already extensive damage from the airstrikes to a lot of the infrastructure in that region. And if the ground troops do move in, if the tanks roll across and into Gaza, it's only going to get dramatically worse.
Jay, let's touch on the hostage situation. After releasing an American mother and daughter on Friday, Hamas now says it's ready to free 2 elderly Israelis. What can you tell us about that offer? Do we have any idea why that offer is being made now?
Yeah, and look, we've just been updated from the IDF on their estimation of hostages. 222 now, the number of those being held, they believe, by Hamas. That offer of 2 Israelis being released has been out there for 2 days. What not only Israel, but the U.S. State Department has now said is that the proof is in action, and we haven't seen those hostages be made ready for transport. And so they say they don't believe the offer at this point, and they believe that this is stalling by Hamas, that they're using the fact that they are holding these hostages to try and put off the ground assault. So that's something that we'll have to watch closely and see if it does come to fruition at some point. 2 days or so, and it still hasn't.
All right. Jay Gray in Israel. Jay, thank you so much.
NBC News foreign correspondent Megan Fitzgerald is joining us now from Cairo, just hours after a second aid convoy crossed into Gaza from Egypt. Hi, Megan. Good morning. So tell us, these 2 aid convoys entered Gaza over the weekend. What were they carrying? And then the big question, though, is how long will those supplies last?
Guys, good morning to you. Over the weekend, we saw collectively at least 35 of those trucks make their way from Egypt across the Rafah border crossing into Gaza. On Saturday, of course, that was the first time we saw the convoy move. There were 20 trucks then, and according to Ambassador Satterfield, who's the special envoy for Middle East humanitarian issues, he says 15 moved yesterday overnight into Gaza. On board these trucks are life-saving humanitarian aid that the people of Gaza are desperate for. Everything from food, water, medical supplies. Now, we know that there's also growing calls throughout the world from world leaders saying that there needs to be more aid getting to Gaza faster. So, for example, we heard from UNICEF, who said on Saturday's shipment, there was enough water for 20,000 people for one day. And as we know, there are more than 2 million people who are in desperate need for supplies.
So, Megan, this convoy comes as the Biden administration called on Israel to delay that ground invasion into Gaza over the weekend. What is the U.S. hoping to accomplish by trying to push Israel to hold off, especially when it comes to these humanitarian efforts?
Well, look, it's a race against time, according to Ambassador Satterfield. That's essentially what he was saying when he spoke on MSNBC yesterday. A race against time to get this aid in. Obviously, a ground offensive would certainly complicate issues. But he went on to say, in fact, I want to quote for you what he said on MSNBC when he was asked directly about a ground offensive and how that would impact humanitarian aid. And he said, any decision by the Israeli military that involves the north will, of course, have an impact, which is why we are focusing on the very significantly increased population in the south of the Gaza Strip. Now, he also went on to say that we will see starting today this ramp up of supplies that are going to be going into Gaza. Already, we know that another convoy of trucks have made their way past the Rafah border crossing on their way into Gaza, guys. So that is certainly something that we will be watching for closely.
Megan, also there where you are in Cairo, world leaders met Saturday for this peace summit. Anything big come out of that? What were some of the biggest concerns brought up and any progress made?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, at this summit that was hosted by President Sisi of Egypt, it was very well attended. We saw leaders from all across the world, representatives from the United States, Canada, all throughout Europe. Obviously, the Middle East was very well attended, and Asia as well. And we saw consensus on many different issues. One, they want to see this indiscriminate bombing on civilians in Gaza. They want to see that stop because we know that innocent women, men, and children especially are being killed every single day. They want to see more humanitarian aid getting to the people of Gaza at a faster rate. And they also want to stop this war from potentially spreading to the region. We heard from President Sisi of Egypt, who had some very direct words I want to read for you. He says, Israel is killing innocent civilians and the world stands silent. That is most certainly reflective of the rage that we are seeing and feeling across the Middle East, which is certainly making its way into Europe, into London and New York, where we have seen protests from the Middle East to the streets of New York City and London, guys.
All right, Megan Fitzgerald, thank you very much.
Well, 2 U.S. hostages, Judith and Natalie Renan, were released by Hamas on Friday. More Americans are still unaccounted for. Meet the Press moderator Kristen Welker sat down with Secretary of State Antony Blinken to ask about what comes next.
Hi there, Joe and Savannah. This week on Meet the Press, I spoke with Secretary of State Antony Blinken, and he gave me an update on the Americans unaccounted for after Hamas's attack. Do you believe that all 10 unaccounted for Americans are being held hostage?
Kristen, we don't know. As you said, we've got 10 unaccounted for Americans. We believe that some significant number are hostages. But, you know, what's happening is, and it just underscores the horror, Israel continues to discover, uncover people who were killed, who were slaughtered. And I use that term very advisedly, slaughtered on October 7th. So what we don't know for sure is whether some of the unaccounted for are dead and have simply not been uncovered yet, or whether they're hostage. But we have a pretty strong idea that some number of the 10 at least are being held in Gaza by Hamas.
You can see my full interview and a lot more at MeetThePress.com. You can also get more Meet the Press here on NBC News Now every weekday at 4 p.m.
All right, Kristen Welker, thank you. Let's bring in NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba with more on this. So, Monica, President Biden spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu yesterday. What did the two talk about?
Well, Joe, they really talked about this need for more humanitarian aid to flow into Gaza. We did see those convoys. The U.S. says there needs to be more, but there is this question of when the Rafah border crossing may open up again. The UN says you would need 100 of those trucks every day just to meet some of these critical needs. And as we know, there have only been several dozen this weekend. So they spoke to that. And then also this urgent need to try to get more hostages out. The U.S. was delighted that those 2 Americans were released, but they're trying to work with the Israelis to see if they can get any of their people out of Gaza. Joe and Savannah.
Yeah, Monica, so speaking of those 2 over the weekend, President Biden spoke with the 2 Americans who had been freed by Hamas. First, let's listen to a little bit of that.
Hey, Judith.
Yeah. Hello, President.
I'm so glad you're home. Or not home. I'm glad you're out.
Thank you so very, very much.
Hey, Nat, how are you? God love you.
I just want to say thank you for your services for Israel.
Well, look, that's been long serving. I'm just delighted we're able to get you out. We've been working on it a long time. We're gonna get them all out, God willing.
Obviously, Monica, there is so much information to come from those 2 being out, but what do we know at this point about the White House's efforts to rescue other hostages still being held?
Well, they're actively working on it. They say hour by hour, but this is really a situation where they don't want to share any other details beyond that because it's so sensitive. But we know there's a team of technical experts on the ground who are very much experienced in hostage recovery. We're working with the Israeli counterparts who are advising them as well. And then they're still really just trying to figure out how many Americans might still be held there. We know we have seen Hamas say they're willing to potentially release more hostages. So the administration has hope, even though they know it will be incredibly difficult in the days and weeks and potentially longer time frame ahead.
So, Monica, beyond working on the hostage situation, we know President Biden requesting this $105 billion aid package that came in his address Thursday night. How are Republicans reacting to his proposal, and what is the White House doing to pressure Congress to try and get that money approved?
Well, it depends on which kinds of Republicans you're asking. Some of them are completely in favor of linking some of these different international priorities with domestic priorities. When you look at that list there, obviously billions would go to Ukraine for new funding to continue their war against Russia, now entering its 2nd year, but then also things like border security and other issues on the home front that Republicans and the GOP have been pushing for is something that's in this deal that they could get behind. We heard a little bit from Senator Mitch McConnell on how he sees it and how he's going to try to help get the Senate to get this over the finish line. Listen.
I know there are some Republicans in the Senate and maybe more in the House that think Ukraine is somehow different. I view it as all interconnected. Also, the notion that the Europeans are not doing enough. They've done almost $90 billion. They're housing a bunch of refugees who escaped. I think our NATO allies in Europe have done quite a lot.
What's incredibly complicated here, though, of course, is the fact that since there is no Speaker of the House, even though this supplemental funding request has been made, that needs to be sorted out before any of this can proceed.
That is
Joe and
key.
Savannah.
We'll have an update on that situation coming up in just a few minutes. Monica Alba, thank you so much.
Let's take a closer look at the diplomacy behind the release of those 2 American hostages. Ambassador Dennis Ross joins us now. He's a former special envoy to the Middle East. Ambassador Ross, thank you very much for being here with us. So it's now been more than 2 weeks since Hamas launched its attack on Israel. So why is it that you think Hamas just released its first hostages? And then also walk us through the role that Qatar played in their release.
Clearly, Hamas looks at the hostages as being kind of an asset in terms of trying to deter the Israelis from coming in. I believe one of the reasons that they took the hostages in the first place is that they saw that as an ability to deter the Israelis from coming in. I believe from the very beginning, the Hamas was concerned that they would face this kind of an Israeli response. And given the history of the Israelis trading over 1,000 prisoners, Palestinian prisoners, many of whom have blood on their hands, including the mastermind of this, Yahya Sinwar. He was released as part of the Gilad Shalit trade. So there the Israelis released 1,000 Palestinian prisoners for one soldier. So Hamas drew the conclusion that if they held hostages, this would be of great benefit to them in terms of trying to deter the Israelis. I think also they saw it as a way of trying to do a trade. where they would get Palestinian prisoners for hostages that they held. So that's, I think, the backdrop to this. In terms of the Qatari role, many of the external leaders of Hamas actually are in Qatar. Qatar has maintained a relationship with Hamas for a long time. They were the ones who were providing money to Hamas for the Hamas position in Gaza and for some public works in Gaza as well. In a sense, what the U.S. is trying to do, what the Biden administration is trying to do, is say to Qatar, you know, these are people who have carried out an unmistakable, to use the words of the Secretary of State, slaughter. You need to prove to us that there's some value in this relationship you have with Hamas. Otherwise, it's pretty hard to understand the relationship you have with a group that is not only a terrorist, but engages in indefensible behavior.
So could Qatar be the answer to peaceful mediation in this conflict?
Not peaceful mediation, because from the Israeli standpoint, they give a platform to Hamas. They help to legitimize Hamas. It doesn't mean Israel is indifferent to what the U.S. is doing with Qatar to try to get the hostages released, but it's pretty hard for Qatar to play a mediating role when they will be doing things that, in effect, will be providing some benefit to Hamas. The Israelis are very sensitive to the idea that Hamas not look like it gains something from this, because if it gains from it, it looks like its way works. And that's the last thing that should emerge from this conflict.
So we've seen these two Americans now that were released. So there's been this talk of these two elderly Israelis potentially to be released as well. Where do you think this goes from here, especially with Israelis being clear that they're not coming to the negotiation table until hostages are released? What are the next steps here?
I think the next steps are going to continue to be the U.S. Putting pressure on Qatar to demonstrate that there is some value. What is the benefit of them having ties to Hamas if they can't deliver anything? So I think you're going to see a continual effort through Qatar. I still think Qatar will be the main focal point more than Turkey, mostly because the those who've been former leaders of Hamas, people like Khalid Mashal and those who are still politically leaders, not the military leaders of Hamas in Gaza, but the political leaders of Hamas, like Ismail Haniyeh, they're in Qatar. So there clearly is a role that the U.S. sees for Qatar, but I think they want to make it clear, if you want us to continue to deal with you, if we want us to look at you as a partner in any way, shape, or form, you need to get the hostages released. At a minimum, it shouldn't be one or two that come out. All the women and children, all those over 80, babies as young as 9 months, they need to be out. And we're not going to, the process of trying to negotiate something, you need to demonstrate that this relationship is going to produce something.
Ambassador Dennis Ross, thank you very much. We appreciate you joining us this morning.
Police in Detroit are on the hunt for a killer following the deadly stabbing of a synagogue leader over the weekend. Investigators say they are still searching for a motive, but that right now there is no evidence that her faith was a factor.
The incident comes as the Jewish and Muslim communities have been on high alert across the country. NBC News correspondent Jesse Kirsch has the details.
Detroit blindsided by heartbreak.
We love you so much.
Family and friends said goodbye to Samantha Wall, a Jewish synagogue board president who Detroit police say was found early Saturday repeatedly stabbed and killed.
She believed in humanity, which of course is a terrible irony for today.
Michigan's Attorney General, who knew Wall, calling her death a brutal murder. Investigators discovering a trail of blood leading to the 40-year-old's home where they believe she was killed.
Our community has lost just a tremendous, tremendous human being.
Wall's friend Sarah DiGilio says she made everyone feel special.
So she was actively trying to bridge divides
Yes.
between different faith groups.
Yes.
Wall's death comes as federal authorities are concerned about attacks on Jewish Americans, Arab Americans, and Muslim Americans because of the Israel-Hamas war. Detroit investigators have not announced a motive here, The city's police chief making a point of saying so far, no evidence has surfaced suggesting that this crime was motivated by anti-Semitism. News of the stabbing comes on a tense weekend. In New York City, some at a pro-Palestinian demonstration clashing with police. Earlier this month in a New York City subway station, police say a woman was punched in the face. The suspect allegedly telling her it was because you are Jewish. And in Illinois, authorities say a 6-year-old Palestinian-American boy was stabbed to death, allegedly targeted because of his Muslim faith and the war overseas. Divisive times, making Wool's death an all the more heartbreaking loss.
Sam so vehemently believed in this Jewish value of tikkun olam, repairing the world.
Multiple law enforcement officials briefed on the investigation tell NBC News there were no signs of forced entry or defensive wounds. Sources also say that investigators found a large Israeli flag that appeared to be untouched. Back to you.
All right, our thanks, Jesse Kirsch, for that report. Much more to come here on Morning News Now. After the break, a House still divided, more chaos in Congress as several House Republicans join the race for Speaker.
There you see the latest candidates, plus another plea deal in the Georgia election interference trial. We'll bring you the latest and what it all means for former President Donald Trump. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. We're going to turn now to the latest in the Fulton County election interference trial. Former Trump attorney Kenneth Chesebro has reached a deal with Georgia prosecutors in exchange for a guilty plea. Here's how that moment played out in court.
Please lower your hand and state your true and correct legal name.
Kenneth John Chesebro.
How do you plead to count 15, conspiracy to commit filing false documents in indictment number 23 SC 188947?
Guilty.
Chesebro was one of more than a dozen defendants charged in this case, including former President Donald Trump. Chesebro is now the second Trump attorney to plead guilty and the third co-defendant in this case to take a deal. A trial date has not yet been set for Trump, who is denied any wrongdoing.
NBC News legal analyst Danny Ceballos joins us here on set for more on this. Good morning. Always great to have you with us. Walk us through this deal. What does this mean he's now expected to do?
This is a lot like the other two deals that have already been entered into by other Trump co-defendants in Georgia. And basically it is that they will do probation time only, no incarceration, but they agree to cooperate. This is a fantastic deal. It was made under, I believe, Georgia's First Offender Act, which is another fantastic statute that is a sort of a one free bite of the apple that a lot of states have. In other words, if you're a first-time offender and you complete probation, you could even get your conviction wiped clean. For attorneys like Sidney Powell and Kenneth Chesebro, that is so critical because it might give them a glimmer of hope of keeping their license as attorneys to the extent they haven't already been damaged by other proceedings that are too detailed to go into here. But the point here is that this is interesting to me because the state of Georgia, in making this offer, signals to me also that this is testimony, evidence from these defendants that they actually need. That's something to consider. I have had clients where you approach the government and say, hey, we're interested in a deal. And they'll say the deal is go in and plead guilty to the indictment. That's our deal. In other words, no deal. You want to plead guilty? Go ahead. We won't object. But a deal that sweet, I have to say it is a good one, signals that the government wants what they have.
So look, you mentioned Sidney Powell. So they were both set to go on trial side by side. They're the two who sort of were fine with having a speedy trial here. She's now pleaded guilty. He's now pleaded guilty. What is some of the evidence testimony they could offer here? And how does attorney-client privilege play into this?
So cooperation is a big tent. In other words, the government, or I should say the DA, will get everything and anything they want from these defendants. That's the agreement that you enter into when you decide to cooperate. You must bare your soul. You must tell the state everything. And if they think you're lying, you will lose the benefit of the deal. To criminal defense attorneys like me, and I'm biased this way, cooperators have a tremendous incentive, a state-sponsored incentive, to say and do anything the state wants them to do to save their own skin. So when it comes to things like attorney-client privilege, I don't think that's going to be much of a barrier, number one, because the privilege cannot be used to perpetrate a fraud, and number two, to the extent that they may have dealt with other people and not Trump, if there were third parties present, if it didn't constitute legal advice, it might not be privileged. You have to, it's not every discussion that happens between an attorney. For example, our discussion here this morning, Joe cannot thereafter say, well, that was privileged, everything I talked about with Danny. There are a lot of rules, one of which is that it must be for legal services and there can't be any third parties present. So it is a privilege that is easy to pierce in the criminal context under certain circumstances.
So what do you think this will mean for the Trump defense team? How will this impact his case?
It's bad for Trump. And again, this was a gambit by the Fulton County DAs. Compare the federal election interference case. They took a different tack. They indicted a single defendant. They made it streamlined. They'll get to trial a lot faster. By indicting 19 co-defendants in Georgia, that means the case is going to be gummed up. It may never go to trial. I have consistently said 2025 is a safe date for the first witness in the Fulton County case. But the advantage is when you charge 19 people, lower-level folks who have a lot to lose, who are first-time offenders, those are the people who say, no mas, I can't take it anymore. I don't have enough money to pay my lawyers. Let's talk about a deal. And that's exactly what happened here with Cheeseborough and Sidney Powell and Scott Hall. They stayed in the kitchen for as long as they could. The heat got too much. They raced to court and pleaded guilty.
All right, Danny Savalos, thank you so much.
It is feeling like a game of season roulette, from frost and freeze in the Ohio Valley to summer like temperatures in the middle of the country.
There you go. I like it. Meteorologist Michelle Grossman is with us this morning. Hey, Michelle, good morning.
Hey there, guys. Great to see you. Yeah, we're layering up in portions of the Ohio Valley into interior parts of the Northeast. The Appalachians really chilly this morning. And then in the middle of the country by this afternoon, we're going to be near 90 degrees in a lot of spots. Temperatures 10, even 25 degrees above normal for this time of year. But frost and freeze alerts this morning for 28 million Americans. Where you see this hot pink color, that is a freeze warning, including places like Mansfield. And then we have frost advisories. That's in Pittsburgh, also Indianapolis, Cincinnati, down to Asheville, North Carolina, because it's cold. We're starting out with temperatures in the 30s in some spots, right around freezing, if not below freezing in some. But then take a look at the middle of the country by this afternoon. We're going to be warm today, tomorrow, and really throughout much of this work week. We're looking at temperatures well above normal. Again, 25 degrees above normal in some spots. Today, Wichita, 86 degrees. That's 19 degrees above average, 81 in Dallas, lots of upper 70s, 80s, and we're looking at 83 degrees in Memphis. Then as we go throughout tomorrow, we're looking at temperatures soaring once again well above normal. Again, 10 to 20 degrees above normal. Chicago, 77 degrees. That's 19 degrees above average. 77 and also Louisville, near 80 in St. Louis, 85 degrees in Little Rock. And then take a look at the Northeast, too. We're going to warm it right back up. It's been chilly for a while. We're looking at 78 degrees on Thursday in New York City, 75 on Friday. And by the way, it looks like we're going to have a rain-free Saturday, rain-free weekend, finally, in New York. But let's take a look at that later on in the week. But as far as the rest of the country goes, we're looking at bright skies in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, lots of sunshine despite the cool air, warm in the middle of the country, rounds of rain in portions of the southern plains, especially Texas today. This will expand a bit tomorrow. We have some moisture moving off the Gulf, what's left over from Norma. Also looking at rain and mix. Snow in portions of the Intermountain West. That's going to expand too as we go throughout the next several days. So here's satellite radar showing that the rain is already coming in the state of Texas. We're going to see rounds of rain. We could see heavy rain in some spots, and that's going to cause a chance for some flash flooding, some urban flooding as well. Could see the chance of a strong to severe storms as we go throughout today in Texas. And then watch what happens tomorrow. This low moves to the north, also a little bit to the east, and kind of expands. It's going to meet a cold front as well. So we're going to see this rain stretching into the Great Lakes. You see these brighter colors, the reds, the oranges, the yellows. Those are clusters of rain. That's heavy rain that could lead to 2 to 4 inches. And again, concerned about flash flooding as we go throughout tomorrow again. Locally up to 4 inches in some spots, especially those darker colors, reds and oranges. We could see some pretty heavy rain there as well. And they're going to be training over the same spots. That's why we're concerned about flash flooding. We could see anywhere from 1 to 2 inches per hour. That's pretty quick. It's tropical moisture, so it's going to come down pretty quickly. And then tomorrow, same story. We're going to add on 2 to 4 inches of rain. And this is going to extend from Kansas City all the way down to portions of Texas. The Great Lakes, you could see some strong to severe storms as well. Then as we look throughout the rest of the work week, we're looking at that snow that I showed you, that storm system coming onshore expanding. And we're going to have snow in some spots that haven't seen it all season long. The Cascades, you're going to see some heavy snow as well. There's that rain lingering from the south all the way to portions of the Great Lakes. You could see a little mix, too, where you see those snowdrops. But we're also looking at watching the tropics. We're looking at, first off, well, I ended here, Hurricane Tammy expecting to keep its strength in portions of the Atlantic, and then it's going to make a move towards Bermuda later on this week into early next weekend. Back to you guys.
All right, Michelle, thank you so much. Turning now to the latest on the race, or perhaps we should call it a marathon, to become Speaker of the House.
That's right. 9 Republicans have announced they're running for the position since Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan dropped out over the weekend after losing a third vote for the job. The House has been without a speaker for nearly 3 weeks now.
NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ali Vitale has covered every minute of those 3 weeks. She joins us now with more on this, Ali. So tell us what you can about these 9 candidates. We don't need a full profile of all 9, but are there any early favorites right now?
I think what I've been calling this is America's next top speaker for those of us who like to live in the 90s, early 2000s reality TV world, because it is extremely dramatic and pretty nonsensical at a lot of points, especially as we watched this once again crumble with Jim Jordan losing the designate spot as speaker for the party. And then you come into this week with 9 people vying for the job. If I'm looking at this list, there are a few names that I want to point out. The first is Tom Emmer, because he's currently in the leadership apparatus. He's currently the whip of the conference. Certainly counting and getting to magic numbers is his job. He should maybe, potentially, be able to fare a little bit better at this than some of his colleagues have in the past. But Tom Emmer has what the Republican conference would call a Trump problem. He is one of 2 of these 9 candidates who actually voted to certify the election results in 2020. That's a good thing, given the fact that those results were completely on the up and up, despite the fact that most of the conference voted to decertify them in the name of Trump. But for Tom Emmer, as someone who is not Trumpy and who won't go along with the lies about the election, that makes him someone that could be unpalatable for some of the more rank and file in the MAGA wing of the party. We'll wait to see what that looks like. And then the other name that I would point out is Byron Donalds of Florida. He is a younger member, someone who has been in a lot of these conversations, whether it was back in January when Kevin McCarthy was going through all 15 of those balloting rounds. He's also someone who's been in the conversations now trying to elect a new speaker, whether that was Scalise, whether that was Jordan. So he's sort of played this inside-outside game within the Republican conference. He's someone who has a lot of time on Fox News. He's good with Donald Trump. That could help him bring along some of the more fringe elements of this conference. So he's someone else that I'm also watching. But again, 9 names. We're going to be in this for a little while.
Oh, yeah. So tell us the next steps here, Ali. I mean, how soon could we see a vote again in the House?
I'm not handicapping anything to be on the earlier side because we are now in week 4 of this, and I don't think any of us thought we would be here. But what's going to happen next is candidates will come back to town late tonight with the rest of the Republican conference. They will once again go behind the infamous closed doors somewhere down in the basement of the Capitol building, and they will listen to candidate pitches. That's all it is for tonight. Then tomorrow they come back in the morning and expect a marathon round of balloting behind closed doors, because what we're going to see is the party really trying to get anyone of these 9 people who can get to that magic number of 217 on the floor. There has been some talk of people signing letters that would say, hey, I'm going to support whoever gets the majority behind closed doors. I'm going to support them on the floor. That's a problem the party has had, is people voting one way behind closed doors and then voting a different way on the floor. What they're trying to do on Tuesday is it's not that 217 number yet. It's the plurality of the Republican conference. So they're just trying to go round by round. Whoever gets the least amount of votes drops out. And eventually they'll whittle down from 9 to 1. And the idea is, and I say the idea because we've seen this before, is that person will then go to the floor and be the next Speaker of the House. TBD on if that happens.
Hey, no kidding, and how long it takes. All right, Ali, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Coming up, fears of escalation in the South China Sea.
Up next, what we know about the latest in a string of collisions in the disputed waterway and why it could lead to a much bigger conflict. Stay with us.
We're back with what's making international headlines. Tensions escalating after a pair of collisions in the South China Sea.
NBC News foreign correspondent Claudio Lavanga joins us now from Rome with that and more. Hey, Claudio, good morning.
Good morning, guys. That's right. China and the Philippines are accusing each other for causing two collisions in the South China Sea yesterday. Now, the Philippines has issued a statement saying that a Chinese Coast Guard ship was irresponsible and illegal when carrying out dangerous blocking maneuvers. China also released a statement that accused a Philippine ship of trespassing and violating international maritime law. Sunday's collisions are just the latest in a string of incidents between Beijing and Manila in the disputed region. Now to Argentina. Two candidates for president are heading to a runoff. Left-leaning candidate Sergio Massa, Argentina's economy minister, won more than 36% of the votes in Sunday's presidential election, while far-right opponent Javier Milei received about 30% of the votes. The election saw 74% voter turnout, according to local media. Now, finally, an unusual case of justice for the art world in a small coastal town in the Netherlands. 6 paintings have been dropped off at the doorstep of an art detective called Arthur Brand after they were stolen from Medemblik Town Hall back in September. Brand was watching the Holland-France soccer game 40 miles away in Amsterdam when his doorbell rang with a delivery of the paintings from a man reportedly uninvolved in the theft. The paintings had an estimated collective worth of £100,000. How about that? Back to you guys.
Wow, pretty incredible.
Not an Amazon delivery. All right.
So a little better. Claudia, thank you so much. Coming up, you've heard about buyers markets and sellers markets. What if it's neither?
Yeah, up next, the unique circumstances that are making the housing market challenging for both parties. You're watching Morning News Now. Back now with some financial headlines. Oil giant Chevron acquiring Hess in a big-time deal worth billions.
CNBC's Bertha Coombs joins us with that and other money news. Hey, Bertha, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Joe and Savannah. Yeah, it is a major deal. Chevron is buying Hess for $53 billion. Hess CEO John Hess will join Chevron's board. Now, this deal comes just weeks after ExxonMobil made a $60 billion offer for shale driller Pioneer Natural Resources, which would make Exxon the biggest producer in the Permian Basin and the biggest U.S. oil field. Hopefully, they don't have to finance those deals because interest rates are so high, and that's causing problems for a lot of Americans. Many are falling behind on their car payments at the highest rate that we've seen in nearly 30 years. Fitch says that the percentage of subprime borrowers who are at least 60 days late on their loans now has risen to 6.1%. That is as of September. That's the highest level since 1994. Figure was about 5.9% at the beginning of the year. But after spending tax refunds, dealing with a shakier job market in some cases, higher inflation, of course, and higher interest rates, more of them are becoming delinquent. And higher car prices and borrowing costs are a big reason why, with the Federal Reserve signaling that it's going to keep interest rates higher for longer. The problem's likely to persist. Meantime, Uber is offering hot air balloon rides, but you have to go to Turkey in the Cappadocia region. It's the company's latest push to expand from ride-hailing and food delivery into wider travel. Users can pay $159 to book a 90-minute sunrise flight above the volcanic landscape famous for its cave cities and churches. Uber's also launched new travel options, mainly in international markets, including flight bookings in the UK. That doesn't seem like a bad price to me, $159 for a 90-minute balloon ride in the sunrise. How beautiful would that be?
I feel like that would work perfectly well in New York.
Yeah,
no problems
request
at all.
a hot air balloon to work. Yeah, exactly. All right, Bertha, thank you.
Right over 30 Rock.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks. Well, now to the housing market, where both buyers and sellers are having a hard time getting what they want. That is thanks in part to sky-high interest rates, like Bertha was just talking about. It's putting monthly mortgage payments out of reach. NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz has more on how families are handling the rising rates.
Post-war America.
For decades, it's been seen as a core part of the American dream. You work hard, you buy a house.
All trails led to the promised land, suburbia.
But for many in modern times, that dream is slipping away.
So we've been house hunting for about
a year now.
Lauren and Stephen DeVillers live in this small one-bedroom rental in Los Angeles. Their living room converted into a second bedroom to make room for their baby Theo.
Right now, our stuff, having a kid, having a dog, we're exploding in here.
But the sticker shock has been real and only made worse by news just days ago that the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate has hit 8%, the highest level since 2000.
Prices aren't going down. Prices are still the same from a year ago, but interest rates keep climbing. So it's just trying to keep up with that over and over again is very discouraging.
Stephen and Lauren's max budget is $800,000. That's below the average home price in LA. If they put 20% down at 8%, their monthly mortgage will be nearly $5,300. That's $2,000 more than it would have been just 2 years ago when rates were 3%.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That is our childcare.
Their realtor, Brita Kleingartner, says nearly all of her clients are struggling.
Their affordability isn't what it used to be. Their monthly mortgage is going to be a whole lot higher than what they're renting at.
This is a problem not just in notoriously expensive places like here in California. Coast to coast, potential buyers and sellers are feeling the brunt of the housing market.
Bob Wood and his wife Terry are ready to downsize. They want to sell their home in Mobile, Alabama to move closer to their grandkids in Tennessee. But because their current mortgage rate is 3%, they're holding off.
What is preventing you from selling right now?
Just the fact that, looking at mortgage rates, it doesn't make sense financially right now.
And that's part of the problem. Less sellers means less inventory, which means it's even harder to buy.
I am still seeing multiple bidding wars.
The National Association of Realtors is now pushing for tax incentives and new zoning laws to help encourage sellers and boost housing nationwide. Until then,
congratulations!
Some buyers are just biting the bullet, hoping to avoid even more competition once mortgage rates drop.
Then they will refinance. And I think when they refinance, they're going to be sitting really pretty.
But for those like Lauren and Stephen still endlessly searching for their perfect home, just breaking into the market is easier said than done.
Something that we felt was attainable is now out of our budget.
We just keep hoping, we keep searching, we keep putting in our offers. We're trying really hard not to lose hope.
Keeping their faith, even as that little slice of the American dream feels more out of reach than ever before.
Our thanks to Liz Kreutz for that reporting.
So what does this all mean for those who are still in the market to try and buy a home? Let's bring in Investopedia editor-in-chief Caleb Silver for some answers. So Liz just mentioned the rising interest rate are making mortgage payments just too tough for some people. New data shows rising prices, climbing mortgage rates are making it more difficult to even afford a home. So first of all, if you do find a good deal, which sounds pretty tough right now, is it even worth it to buy right now with these high rates?
Yeah, well, it's an emotional decision, and you need some place to live. That's the thing about buying your own home. You actually live in it, it's tangible, and it's something you could have for generations. So that's a decision you have to make personally. But high rates are going to be here for a while. The last point they made was interesting, though. You might be able to refinance in about 6 months to a year. Interest rates are expected to go down. So buy now, bite the bullet on the high rate, and then maybe in a year, maybe you can refinance. That's an option for some people. But getting into that down payment right now is very expensive.
So, Caleb, Liz just mentioned this supply problem that not that many people are selling because they're hanging on to that lower mortgage rate they've got. So then there's not that many homes on the market. Can buyers expect any relief on that front and therefore a relief when it comes to prices anytime soon?
Yeah, well, they're all connected. And as soon as mortgage rates start to dip a little bit, you're going to see a lot more home buying and home selling activity. But the housing supply is still not as strong as the demand. So it makes much more sense for many people to rent than to buy right now. But there's not that much rental supply. So we have a tight housing market. All of that should ease up in the middle of next year going into the summer. But you have to be patient and you have to have a watch list of the homes you might want to buy.
Last I checked, you can't clip any coupons if you want to buy a house or any Groupons on it. So are there any tips to help home buyers cut back on costs when looking for a home?
Yeah, be seasonal about it because the fall and the winter is the best time to buy a home. You'll probably find the best deals. Most people buy homes in the spring and summer to start the new school year. Also, if you can help it, try to do your close at the end of the month, not the beginning of the month. If you're actually buying, there's those prepaid items. You don't want a month's worth of those to build up. Sometimes you can negotiate with a seller or buy directly from a seller versus getting in there with a broker. You can avoid a lot of fees there. Apply for a down payment relief if you can. There's closing cost assistance out there for people of a certain income and shop around for a mortgage. It's going to get a lot more competitive, guys. Believe me, when rates start to fall in the middle of next year, and I hope that they do, you're going to see a lot of competition for mortgages, credit cards, and loans, and I think the housing market should open up around that.
Caleb, oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
we have so many questions for you. Caleb, you mentioned that right now it's really makes more sense for some people to rent. How is the market, though, for renting? Because we've also seen those prices really be on a roller coaster.
Super tight, but in terms of affordability, we talk about spending no more than 30 to 35% of your income on your housing, whether that's a mortgage or a rent. Makes a lot more sense to rent right now, given prices, depending on the city, not New York City, but depending on the city, It makes a lot more sense for families than to save up that money for that down payment and then be able to afford the closing costs and everything that goes into that home purchase.
All right, Caleb Silver, thank you so much.
Thank you. Coming up, they're flipping the script on the Great White Way.
After the break, I'm going to take you behind the scenes of one of Broadway's newest shows where the story of immigrant families takes center stage. This is Morning News Now. We're back with our series, Flipping the Script, featuring people on screen, on stage, and behind the scenes, shining a spotlight on diversity. Enter the play, Jaja's African Hair Braiding. The Broadway show is getting rave reviews and tells the story of West African immigrant women who work in a hair braiding shop in Harlem. And for the playwright and many of its stars, it's a story that's rooted in their own reality. As the title suggests, this is a play about Jaja's African hair braiding shop, a fictional place that feels very real inside and out. The show starts out here.
It does.
How do you describe this?
I describe this as like everyday Harlem, the sounds of grates going up at 9 a.m. It's part of the tapestry, the cacophony of Harlem.
And then you kind of have the contrast as you move inside. How do you describe this?
And then we come to the shop. It's a blast of pinks and purples and everything that a Harlem braiding shop is.
To playwright Jocelyn Bio, the set is surreal.
I just got my hair rebraided last week, and I'm like, am I still in the shop? Like, it's so crazy. That's the magic of theater.
What inspired this play?
I'm born and raised in New York. I've been going to hair braiding salons since I was like 4 or 5 years old. So this place is like a second home to me. I wanted to write a play that felt like a love letter to Harlem. Give them some unique representation on a Broadway stage that, like, I know none of them ever imagined. I know my hair braiding lady has never imagined her life in any way, shape, or form reflected in a play.
To you, these women are heroes, right?
They are. I mean, I go to them for anything. Love advice, life advice, you know. These women feel like my aunts. Being able to write something that's dedicated to their experiences and what they went through felt like a real privilege. So they are my heroes.
Good morning. Can I help you?
The play centers on a day in the life of 4 hair braiders.
But I'm going back home soon to visit.
Including Miriam, played by Brittany Adebumola.
She is a quiet and very kind but courageous young mother who is trying to create a new life for her family here in America. Meanwhile, her child is back home in Sierra Leone. She reminds me of my mom in her persistent pursuit of joy and of love and of peace and freedom. My mom is also an immigrant. She came from Jamaica, though. And I just saw so many similarities and parallels between Miriam and my mom.
What's it like to play someone who reminds you of your mother?
It's an honor, it's a blessing, but it also feels like a lot of pressure sometimes because I want to get it right. Growing up, I never expected for a play like this to exist on Broadway because it just hasn't been done before.
Has your mom seen it yet?
She has. She's seen it twice. She saw it twice this week, yeah.
And what'd she say?
I was just talking to my mom and my aunt about it yesterday. They both said that it spoke so deeply to their experiences, and my aunt was like, that, you know, this woman, this is my story, and this is Auntie, you know, such and such's story, and I was just really happy that it resonated with them in the way that I knew that it would.
Oh, it's just been one of those days already, you know?
Dominique Thorne plays Marie, Jaja's daughter. She, too, has a personal connection to the story.
I'm the child of immigrants, first generation. Everyone else in my family is from Trinidad and Tobago. I was the first person to be born here.
Have people in your family seen it?
I've actually had a few family members come from Trinidad to see it. They just left not too long ago, yeah.
And what did they think?
They were in awe, honestly. They were so overjoyed.
How does that feel for you?
Oh want to cry. But it really is incredible. It feels like maybe I'm doing something right.
When you were younger, what would have meant to you to have seen this play?
It would have meant everything. There were so few examples of representation that existed anywhere, on TV, in film, and certainly not on a Broadway stage. So it's a thrill when I've met some audience members who have said to me, like, I love this play. It's my first time coming to see a Broadway show. And to be part of someone else's history like that I was very moved. I was very touched.
Our thanks to Jocelyn Bio and the cast for taking time to speak with us. You can check out Jaja's African Hair Braiding right now at the Samuel J. Friedman Theater here in New York. Its run has been extended a couple times already because it's getting such buzz, but it is a pretty limited run, so if you want to see it, you got to see it soon.
What an amazing concept.
Exactly.
And great conversations.
Very good. That's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now. Stay with us.
Top of the hour, let's get straight to the latest out of the Middle East this morning. Israel is stepping up its aerial assault on Gaza, reportedly striking more than 300 targets throughout the territory in just about a day. That's according to Israel's Defense Force. The death toll there surpassing 5,000 this morning and includes more than 2,000 children. It comes as desperately needed humanitarian aid finally begins moving across the Egypt-Gaza border. The White House overnight promising a continuous flow of assistance after a key phone call between President Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And American military forces are conducting a region-wide show of force, hoping to stave off a broader conflict. It's all as Israel's long-expected ground assault on Gaza looms, and as 2 Americans held captive by Hamas are finally free. Good morning, I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. We begin this morning with Israel's fierce new aerial bombardment.
NBC News chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel is in northern Israel with the latest.
U.S. officials are expressing concern that this war could escalate even further, and if it does, it could likely happen right here. We are in northern Israel along the Lebanese border. In fact, just behind those hills right there is Lebanon, and behind the hills, Hezbollah has its military positions and has rockets. And if this war were to enter a new phase, Hezbollah could fire rockets over those hills, even send some of its fighters down those hills and into Israeli towns and communities like this one right now. But the big news today are all of these reports in the Israeli media saying that the ground offensive, the long-anticipated ground offensive into Gaza, may be delayed. But only the ground offensive, because strikes from the air are intensifying.
NBC's team in Gaza say last night saw the most intense Israeli airstrikes since Israel began its bombing campaign after Hamas killed 1,400 Israelis and took hostages. Medical officials in Gaza say it was also the deadliest night, with hundreds of Palestinians killed from northern Gaza to the south. Our crew filmed an elderly man and woman pulled from the rubble this weekend. And rescue workers believe many are still buried. But what about Israel's ground offensive? Thousands of Israeli troops and tanks are in position for an assault into Gaza. But this morning, multiple Israeli media reports say the offensive may be delayed, pushed back for an undetermined period to give more time for negotiations led by Qatar to free what Israel now says are 222 hostages held by Hamas. Another reason for a possible delay? The United States is hardening its defenses in the region because if or when Israel invades, a regional war could quickly spread to Lebanon, where Hezbollah has been stepping up attacks against Israel, and even potentially to Iran, which backs both Hezbollah and Hamas. Diplomacy is in high gear with a peace summit this weekend in Cairo. Some aid is now getting into southern Gaza, with dozens of trucks packed with medical supplies, food, and water coming from Egypt after long delays and diplomatic wrangling. Israel blames Hamas for the high death toll among Palestinian civilians, accusing the group of hiding in built-up areas. The Israeli military released footage of what it says are Hamas locations near mosques and schools. But while aid is trickling in, hundreds of American Palestinians remain camped out near the Egyptian border, trying to leave.
This is the life in Gaza right now. And you are in jail and you are under bombardment all the time.
Qasim Ali was visiting his mother in Gaza when the war broke out.
Mr. Biden worried about the Israelis, Americans. But us as Palestinians, American, or especially as Gazans, American, I never heard from anybody.
While most of Israel's military activity in Gaza is from the air, it is these airstrikes. There have been limited ground incursions, commando raids. Israel isn't talking about them much, only to say that they're trying to gain information about the hostages and also, it seems, test Hamas's capabilities.
All right, Richard Engel, thank you so much.
The hostage situation is at the forefront of this ongoing conflict. As we've been reporting, Hamas freed 2 American-Israeli hostages on Friday, but it's still holding dozens more. Families are anxiously awaiting word about their missing loved ones and praying for their safe return. NBC News Chief International Correspondent Keir Simmons has more on that part of the story. Keir, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning to you. And NBC News has new details of the daily high-stakes diplomacy to try to free hostages, even as this morning Israel says its overnight raids into Gaza were in part an effort to locate them. The talks a race against time, with Israel still talking of a ground invasion. Overnight, desperate families meeting with the Israeli president, with little news of what Israel this morning now says are at least 222 hostages, including 20 children being held by Hamas. 3 days ago, Americans Judith and Natalie Renan were released.
Just to let it rip and get you out.
A diplomat with knowledge of the talks, describing to NBC News intense daily dialogue with many ups and downs.
How did it feel when you learned that 2 American hostages...
Okay, so all my body was like this. I was shaking.
The family of hostage Adan Alexander speaking to NBC News' Zinkley Ezemois. Alexander, a New Jersey high school graduate, was serving as an Israeli Defense Force soldier.
I just hope that they will bring him home and my soul will come back to me.
The small Gulf nation, Qatar, is mediating the hostage crisis, talking directly to both Hamas and Israel, we're told. Those conversations gained momentum after Secretary Blinken visited Qatar on October 13th, but went quiet after the Gaza hospital explosion days later. Now, what the diplomat with knowledge of the talks calls an olive branch, the release of Judith and Natalie Renan. A day later, the first trucks of food and medicine allowed into Gaza. Not a trade, we're told, but positive steps. This morning, with Israel warning a full ground invasion is coming, the need to free the hostages, 10 of them US citizens, a pressing diplomatic priority. And Joe, that diplomat we spoke to tells us the Israelis are not willing to talk until all the hostages are released, but expressed the hope that if Hamas did release the hostages, it may lead to dialogue or mediation. But Joe, this morning, that possibility does seem a long way off, Joe.
All right, Keir, thank you so much.
Let's take a closer look at the hostage situation and the diplomacy going on behind the scenes. Rob D'Amico, founder of Sierra One Consulting and a former member of FBI's hostage rescue team, joins us now. Thank you very much for being with us. So as Keir just laid out there, of course, this is this complex situation. There are, Israel says, more than 200 Israelis being held hostage, 222 in total, we believe, being held hostage, with many of them young, some even over the age of 80. And then there's also the innocent lives just hanging in the balance within Gaza when it comes to the potential of a ground invasion. What are Israel's options right now, especially if they are not just completely showing up to the negotiating table with Hamas?
Yeah, it's so complex with that many hostages. Normally, the U.S. has dealt with, 5, 6. Afghanistan was one of the largest areas that we had multiple hostages. And the key here is to be able to coordinate this. Hopefully, they've set up a working group to be able to track all the hostages as people are talking about them, to figure out who is out there, who may be wounded, that you can use that. The big thing that Qatar came in and has shown that they have the right line to the Hamas people that can release them. So many times that you go up a false trail where someone says they can get someone released and they actually can't. So the fact that the 2 were released means that we're talking to, or the Qataris are talking to the right people, that they can actually do that. The big thing that you have to have here is you want one line of communication. Right now, it's the Qataris. Unfortunately, when you have an intermediary like that, you don't get all the clues that a normal hostage negotiator is talking about. Empathy, active listening, you're getting it from a second party. So you have to take what they tell you is being said and apply it to the situation.
So the release of the 2 hostages, what do you imagine the U.S. is doing behind the scenes right now to try and build off of that and secure the release of more?
Well, the U.S. is helping. I mean, we're always in the game that way. As you saw, the Qataris came into this after a visit from our Secretary of State, asking us. We use them in Afghanistan. I know the Canadians used them. I was part of an operation that used them, and they have trust between both sides. Normally, you're not going to get the Israelis and Hamas to really talk on a non-emotional level, but using the Qataris takes it out. They're a third party. They support Hamas in some ways, so Hamas has some loyalty to them and helps them. And then on the reverse side, we trust the Qataris that they're doing the right thing.
Obviously, of course, the first concern for the 2 hostages that have been released is making sure their physical and mental well-being is as good as it can be. But walk us through what type of information can be learned from 2 people who were being held hostage there. What types of information is Israel as well as the U.S. looking to gain from them?
The most critical is active intelligence on hostages they may have seen or how they were held. So once you figure out they're okay medically, you want to bring them in. You want to talk to them about what were the conditions? How were they transported? Did they see anyone else during their captivity? How many guards were on them? How were they moved? All these things that could help in a hostage rescue attempt. That's one of the last resorts because it's so dangerous, but you still want to have all that intel from them, 2 people who were just released. It might not be a location you're looking for, but the method of movement, the method of guards and how close the security is, how they dealt with them, maybe when they were talking on the phone, how were they doing it? Everything that can lead to intelligence if a hostage rescue does happen, how you can best have surprise and get someone out safely.
Rob D'Amico, thank you very much for joining us.
With anticipation building for an Israeli ground invasion of Gaza, concerns are also growing that the war could widen amid intensifying border exchanges. For more on this, we're joined by NBC News military analyst and Medal of Honor recipient Colonel Jack Jacobs. Always good to have you with us, Colonel. So let's start with this anticipated ground invasion. We have been talking about it for days now. Realistically, what's it looking like? When could that happen? And what do you expect we're going to see in just the next few days here?
Well, everybody's been wondering how come the Israelis are taking so long to get into Gaza. And there are a couple of reasons for this, not the least significant of which is the attempt by the Israeli Defense Force to find out where the command communications and headquarters nodes are, where the Hamas have located their weapons, and try to eliminate as many of those as possible. The second reason it seems to be delayed revolves around the discussion about the hostages. It would be in everybody's best interest if more of the hostages were released. Indeed, if all the hostages were released, but that's probably not going to happen. What is really important from the Israeli standpoint is that as many non-combatant Gazans as possible get south of Wadi Gaza and into an area where they can be taken care of by relief efforts. It doesn't suit the Israelis or anybody else for there to be any non-combatants in the area of Gaza City where one expects the attack to take place. And so those are the reasons why the Israelis are waiting. If they wait long enough, it's possible there may be a negotiated settlement, but the Israelis are on the horns of a dilemma. They have to redress what happened on October 7th. And at some point, they probably will do so, Joe.
Hey, Colonel, it's Savannah. So the U.S. is increasing this military presence also in the Middle East. We've moved an aircraft carrier and attack ships to the Persian Gulf, deploying advanced missile defense systems to the region. This is really all part of an effort to avoid this conflict getting any broader. Is what you're seeing able to achieve that? Do you think it's enough to contain the fighting, or does more need to be done?
Well, there are 2 ways to look at this. The first is that the fleets that are currently in the Eastern Mediterranean are excellent targets for people like Hamas, Quds Force from Iran, and so on. That may be, you could say that's one of the reasons that they're there. But it's a very, very formidable force. Two carrier groups There's a Marine amphibious unit, special operations forces who are aboard the ships, the capability to strike deep inside enemy territory and so on. So the principal reason for their presence there is to deter any action from any third parties, Hezbollah, Iran, or anybody else in the region, including Syria, who might be inclined to get involved in the conflict. If there is any action on the part of Hezbollah, the United States has got a very big decision to make. Is it going to attack Hezbollah on behalf of the Israelis, or is it going to just let Israelis do it by themselves? If the war spreads to northern Israel and Lebanon, and it is fairly intense, it's going to be a difficult decision for the United States.
All right. Colonel Jack Jacobs, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, Britain's Prime Minister Rishi Sunak met with Egypt's President Sisi on Friday, where the Egyptian leader called for an end to the Israel-Hamas conflict. He said he hopes talks could resume that might lead to peace and even the creation of a Palestinian state.
It's a goal that perhaps seems impossible right now, but just 3 decades ago, the various sides were not quite as far apart as you might think. NBC News foreign correspondent Raf Sanchez takes a closer look.
As Israel and Hamas descend further into war, the prospects for a broader Israeli-Palestinian peace deal seem further away than ever. But 30 years ago, that peace appearing on the cusp after decades of conflict.
In May of 1948, a new Jewish state, Israel, was born in a bath of blood.
Neighboring Arab states launching a war against Israel after it was founded. The international community envisioning a Palestinian state too, but Israel fighting with Arab countries in conflicts like the Six-Day War and Yom Kippur War, alongside clashes with Palestinians, preventing that state from fully emerging. One of Israel's fiercest soldiers in those years, Yitzhak Rabin, growing into a warrior of peace after being re-elected prime minister in 1992.
Rabin spent many years in the Israeli Defense Forces. He knew the cost of war better than most.
Rabin opening a door to negotiations with Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat's Palestinian Liberation Organization, or PLO. At that time, the PLO designated a terrorist group by the United States, and a tumultuous Palestinian uprising called the First Intifada in full swing. After months of preliminary talks, Rabin reluctantly met Arafat in Washington.
Bill Clinton had to coach him along and say, I know this isn't easy. I know this has been your enemy for a long, long time, but here's our opportunity, and we should grab it.
The two, once bitter adversaries, shaking hands, and their delegations signing the Oslo Accord.
Enough of blood and tears. Enough.
The difficult decision we reached together was one that required great and exceptional courage.
The PLO would recognize Israel's right to exist, and Israel would begin transitioning control of the Gaza Strip and the West Bank to Palestinians. The deal, just the beginning for Rabin. Israel signed a peace treaty with Jordan in 1994, and another Oslo Accord with Arafat in 1995.
What could be the most promising step yet toward peace in the Arab lands that Israel has occupied since the 1967 war.
That November, Rabin speaking at a giant rally for peace in Tel Aviv. But just as he left the stage, tragedy.
4 or 5 shots rang out and Rabin collapsed into the arms of his security men.
Rabin killed not by a Palestinian, but by a 24-year-old Israeli extremist who opposed the peace process. A blood-stained paper found in his jacket pocket. On it, lyrics of Shir LaShalom, or a song for peace. One he sang on stage just moments before his death. In the days following, a national moment of silence.
At 2 o'clock this afternoon, the city of Jerusalem ground to a halt.
Rabin's death shocking the world.
The world has lost one of its greatest men, a warrior for his nation's freedom, and now a martyr for his nation's peace.
Very shocked for this awful and terrible crime.
The fallout of that traumatic loss inflaming hardliners on both sides of the conflict.
Rabin's assassination was a tremendous blow to the peace process.
Israel soon drifting rightward in the vacuum of a strong leader pushing for peace.
You had Israelis who had profound doubts about the wisdom of negotiating with the PLO. And Bibi Netanyahu was at the forefront of those with those doubts.
Netanyahu coming to power for the first time in 1996. Violence soon flared back up. Bus bombings as part of 2 more intifadas that killed thousands. Israeli settlement construction ramping up. More peace proposals falling flat. A blockade of Gaza, and now another war. But when this war someday ends, perhaps a new generation of leaders will look back at this moment, recognize how close peace felt, and be inspired by some of Rabin's last words. In every central square of every city, scream out and cheer, only for peace.
Our thanks to Raf Sanchez for that look back.
Yeah, we've got much more ahead on this hour of Morning News Now, including Senator Bob Menendez's day in court, what we're expecting from his arraignment on a conspiracy charge later this afternoon.
But first, the latest from Washington on the 9 Republicans now vying for the House speakership after Congressman Jim Jordan bows out. Stick around.
Welcome back. Well, 9 Republicans have thrown their hats into the ring for the next Speaker of the House after Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan dropped out of the running.
The candidates are expected to make their case for the position tonight at a GOP forum.
NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles is here on set with us, which is such a little treat. We're surprised to see you. Good morning. Great to have you with us. So walk us through where we're at this point. Tell us just some of these names, any front runners.
So probably the front runner right now is Tom Emmer. He's the current Republican whip, which makes him the 3rd most powerful Republican in the House of Representatives from Minnesota. He has a large whip operation. That's the group of people that help you collect the votes for a job like this. Tom Emmer's problem, though, is that of these 9 candidates who put their names forward, only 2 voted to certify the 2020 election, which may sound like a good thing, but in this world where former President Donald Trump has a lot of influence, that is hurting his candidacy. So that's why you've seen so many other candidates come forward. Just a couple of names: Byron Donalds, who's a relative newcomer from Florida, has a lot of support, particularly in that conservative ranks. Mike Johnson of Louisiana is a potential dark horse candidate. And some of the other candidates had thrown themselves out there as just placeholders. Jack Bergman, for instance, has said, I just want the job until the end of this Congress to get us over this rough patch. And then others have talked about their experience, like Pete Sessions of Texas. So it's a wide open race, and any of them can win the nomination. The question is whether or not they can get 217 votes.
As we've learned. So talk to us about this forum tonight, what happens here, and then what we could maybe see in the coming days. Would we see a vote on the House for this?
We're hoping, right? That's the plan. So they'll have this candidate forum tonight, which will be an opportunity for them to make their pitch to their fellow lawmakers. After the forum tonight, tomorrow morning, they're scheduled to do rounds of internal voting. So those will be private votes amongst the members of the Republican conference. There could be multiple rounds. So if a candidate doesn't get over the 50% threshold in the first round, candidates will drop off and they'll go 3 or 4 rounds until they get to the end. They hope to emerge with a nominee sometime on Tuesday. Now, depending on the level of support that nominee has, if everybody does decide to get behind him, then perhaps they go right to the floor Tuesday night and get this over with. There's a better chance that it trickles into Wednesday morning when they kind of get everything in a row and see. But again, that 217 number remains elusive.
Is there any new level of urgency coming to this as this drags on and as work can't get done?
I do get the sense that they're kind of getting sick of all of this, right? I mean, when you talk to the average member of Congress, they just seem to be so annoyed that they can't get over this hump. But yes, there is a very, very tangible level of urgency just in terms of the work that is not getting done. We are inching closer and closer to yet another deadline to get a budget passed. Now we also have this $105 billion military supplemental that the president has asked that includes funding for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan, as well as border security. So, yeah, they would like to get this stuff done. They'd like to get this moving. You can't do any of it without a speaker. So the urgency is at a 12 on a scale of 10.
Ryan Nobles, great to have you stop by. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good to see you.
New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez will return to federal court this afternoon in Manhattan.
Yeah, there Menendez is expected to plead not guilty to a conspiracy charge alleging he acted as an agent of the Egyptian government.
NBC News correspondent Antonia Hilton is at the courthouse for us. Antonia, walk us through what we can expect today.
Good morning, Joe. Well, around 3 p.m. this afternoon, we expect to see Senator Bob Menendez come here to court in Manhattan and likely plead not guilty. Of course, he has maintained throughout the last several weeks of these charges as they've piled up that he is innocent, and he's been defiant in the face of calls for his resignation from the Senate. And this is, of course, the second time he has actually been indicted in the last decade. Back in 2015, he was indicted on similar corruption-related allegations, but that ended in a mistrial, and he was not retried and was never convicted on those charges. He has told the American public that he is going to prove his innocence when this trial comes. But the question right now for him is, really how his constituents and how people in New Jersey feel about this in the moment. We expect him to plead not guilty. As we saw the co-defendants in this case, including his wife and other businessmen from New Jersey, plead not guilty in the same just days ago now, Joe.
So, hey, Antonia, it's Savannah, remind us here the crimes that Menendez is accused of committing, and then you said that he's going to prove his innocence. Anything we know about how he's responding to these charges?
Well, his main line has essentially been that what he is going to prove is that all of this was part of the normal course of business. But as you and Joe spelled out at the top here, he is accused in this sort of addition to the indictment of acting on behalf of a foreign government, of the Egyptian government, of giving sensitive U.S. government information to those foreign actors, and then also the host of bribery and corruption-related charges that essentially prosecutors are arguing that in exchange for assistance and favors to Egypt and also to businessmen in New Jersey, that he received hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash, mortgage payment assistance, gold bars, expensive exercise equipment. And throughout the indictment, I mean, they had photographs of this stuff, of the cash, of the gold bars found. And he is going to argue that these were all his own property, that they were legitimate earnings that belonged to him and not part of cash payments. But, when you look at how New Jersey residents and also his colleagues, fellow Democrats in the Senate, I mean, senators like John Fetterman, who have been very loudly calling for him to resign. You have to keep in mind here, these allegations come when he was not just a sitting senator, but also serving actually as the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And so there's a lot of outrage locally, but also nationally in this case, Savannah.
Antonia, let's quickly talk about what we could see next. When could we see the trial?
Well, the judge has set the trial for May. Of course, with months of time between now and then, things could change. And the question of sort of constituents' ability to stomach all of this is really going to be the primary one. He plans to continue his business in the Senate as of now. But polling and reporting out of New Jersey shows that many people are calling on him to resign, including Democrats who have previously supported and worked with him. So that's really going to be the political pressure he's facing in the months as we get closer to a trial, likely in May.
All right, Antonia in New York, thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's get you some international headlines now. Starting in Ukraine, another deadly day after a missile strike on a Kharkiv postal center.
NBC News foreign correspondent Claudio Lavanga is in Rome with that and other world headlines. Claudio, good morning.
Good morning, guys. That's right. At least 6 people have died and 14 others are injured after a Russian missile strike hit a postal center in Kharkiv, Ukraine, over the weekend. Now, the governor of the broader Kharkiv region released a statement that those injured are in serious condition. It's been reported that the employees of the center had mere seconds to find shelter between the sirens warning the incoming missile and its impact. Now, let's move over to a first-ever trilateral aerial exercise, which was held yesterday between South Korean, U.S. and Japanese militaries. The exercise was conducted amid the evolving threat of nuclear weapons coming from North Korea. The training was held near the Korean Peninsula and involved fighter jets from South Korea and Japan and a nuclear-capable B-52 bomber supplied by the U.S. And finally, a lake in Casterly, Belgium, got a dash of pumpkin spice this weekend. The town hosted its 15th annual Pumpkin Regatta, a relay race that takes place in extra-large, hollowed-out pumpkins. Teams of 4 participate in paddling across the lake quickly enough that the heavy, hollowed-out jack-o'-lanterns don't sink with their captains inside. Most competitors sport funny costumes, and some say they even helps you to paddle faster and stay afloat. Don't you love this? Halloween stories, guys. Back to you.
I do love that. Wow. They got a lot of big pumpkins.
Those are, yeah, I know. A lot of big pumpkins.
Claudio, thank you.
Thank you, Claudio. Coming up, the massive manhunt now underway for a suspected gunman in the death of a Maryland judge.
Why police believe he allegedly pulled the trigger. Next on Morning News Now. We are back now with an urgent manhunt for the suspected gunman who killed a Maryland judge.
Authorities believe that Judge Andrew Wilkinson was shot and killed because of his ruling in a divorce case just hours earlier in his courtroom. NBC News correspondent Stephanie Gosch joins us now with the latest on the search. Stephanie, good morning.
Hey, guys, good morning to you. And authorities are issuing a $10,000 reward for suspect Pedro Argote, who they believe is responsible for Judge Wilkinson's murder on his own driveway on Thursday. One of 6 circuit judges in a close-knit Maryland community. One key lead, the suspect's abandoned vehicle found minutes away from the murder scene. This morning, a massive search is underway for the alleged killer of a respected Maryland judge. Police releasing these images of 49-year-old Pedro Argote, who they say shot Circuit Court Judge Andrew Wilkinson Thursday night outside Wilkinson's house in Hagerstown, while his wife and son were at home inside.
Argote is not in custody and is considered armed and dangerous.
The vicious attack happened just hours after the judge awarded custody of Argote's 4 children to his ex-wife, according to court documents. Wilkinson also denied Argote visitation rights and ordered him to pay child support. Last year, Argote's now ex-wife filed a domestic violence petition against her ex-husband, but it was dismissed 2 weeks later. On Saturday, police recovered Argote's abandoned vehicle in a wooded area less than 10 miles away from the crime scene.
We're going to catch this guy.
Authorities say Argote has ties to multiple regions beyond the state of Maryland, including New York, Florida, Indiana, and North Carolina.
It's just a matter of time before this subject is brought to justice.
An attorney for Argote's now ex-wife telling NBC News they have no information about the whereabouts of Mr. Argote, writing in a statement, "Our hearts ache for Judge Wilkinson's family. Judge Wilkinson was a kind, caring, and compassionate individual. He will truly be missed."
He acted with dignity in all times, and he always made decisions based on intellect and honesty.
Now, as the suspect remains on the run, the tight community that Judge Wilkinson served is reeling from this senseless act of violence.
This is not indicative of what this town is. I mean, it's a tragedy. It is awful, and it's the world that we live in, and it's a shame.
Guys, this is a terrible story. They're obviously looking for any help that they can get in finding Argote. They have that car, which is one lead, but they don't know where he went.
Is there any more information about his history of owning firearms?
Yes, he does have a gun, but the police have not said anything about the murder weapon at this point. They were also called to the house for domestic violence allegations. But there were never any charges, and he does not have a criminal record.
All right, Stephanie Goss, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Let's get a check on your forecast for the week ahead.
That's right. Michelle Grossman is back in studio with us with the latest. Hey, Michelle, good morning.
Hey there, guys. And it is a tale of 2 seasons today. This morning, really chilly temperatures in the Ohio Valley, parts of the interior Northeast, and then we're really summer-like throughout the middle of the country by this afternoon. Temperatures into the upper 80s, some spots 10, even 25 degrees above normal. So that's a big weather story for today. Also watching some moisture in Texas. It's what's left over from Norma, along with a little bit of a front. They're combining to bring some rain. And it could be heavy at times. Could see 1 to 3 inches there. And then over the next couple of days, we'll see rounds of rain. Also in the upper Great Lakes, could see some rain and snow into the Intermountain West. This will expand as we go throughout the next couple of days. But to the southwest, we're looking dry. By Wednesday, we're looking at that rain expanding. I mentioned Texas. Notice really heavy rain. That's where you see those brighter colors. So we do have a flood threat. We could see flash flooding as well. And this is going to extend all the way to portions of the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes. That's along a front that's going to bring rounds of showers and also storms. Could see strong to severe storms. Wintry impacts into the Intermountain West. Some spots seeing their first snow for the season. The Cascades could get some heavy snow. We're going to keep it dry in the Northeast, New England, the Mid-Atlantic, and we're going to start to bump up the temperatures as we get to the middle of the week. Sunny and seasonable in portions of the Southeast. Same story in the Southwest. Then by Friday, we're looking at more snow in the Intermountain West, portions of the Rockies into the Northern Plains. Lots of rain still lingering in the Great Lakes through the Ohio Valley and also the Tennessee Valley, at least portions of the Tennessee Valley into the Southern Plains. Really pleasant. This is good news. We may get a rain-free weekend. It looks that way in portions of the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic after 7-8 weekends of straight rain. We're looking at really nice conditions. It will be warm, and then we're going to start to bring those temperatures back down. But starting with the cold this morning, we're looking at freeze warnings, looking at frost advisories. Freeze warnings, that's in the hot pink because we're looking at temperatures that are below freezing in some spots. 28 million people impacted by these really cold temperatures. So you need to layer up as you head out this morning. And then as we shift towards the west, a big difference. We're looking at summer-like air. Wichita, 86 degrees today, near 90. That's 19 degrees above what is typical for this time of year. Into the 80s in Memphis, New Orleans, Denver. We're really warm too in Albuquerque and also El Paso. That will stay in place tomorrow. We're going to see expanding a little bit to the east as well. So now we're looking at temperatures into the 70s, 19 degrees above average Chicago, 73 in Detroit. Look at Harrisburg, 68 degrees. That's 7 degrees above normal for this time of year. And then as we get towards Wednesday and Thursday, look at Thursday, New York City, 78 degrees. May need to bring out those short sleeves once again. Temperatures into the mid 70s, upper 70s in D.C. as well. There's that moisture working into Texas today. It's going to stay in place over the next several days. We're seeing spots of heavy rain there, the yellows and the reds, the oranges. That's indicating where we're seeing the heavy rain falling. And that will continue over the next several days. So it's that remnant of Norma colliding with some Gulf moisture. Could see some severe weather as well and the risk for flooding. This is going to move up to the north and also to the east. And then we're going to see places like Kansas City getting some heavy rain, anywhere from Kansas City all the way down to portions of Texas. Tomorrow we'll see that heavy rain as well. That's going to extend into the upper Midwest, possibly 4 inches or more. And then that's going to lead to the chance for some flash flooding, not only today, but also tomorrow. Back to you both.
All right. Thanks so much, Michelle. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Coming up, could sticking with a Mediterranean diet help stave off symptoms of PTSD?
We've got some interesting new research right after this.
We are back now with what is making financial headlines this morning, and it looks like interest rates on many credit cards from the big retailers are hitting record highs.
CNBC's Bertha Coombs is back with more on that and other money news. Bertha, good morning.
That's right, Joe and Savannah. You know, this morning we've got the benchmark 10-year Treasury yield at around 5%, and that is rippling through a lot of other interest rates. The annual interest rate on the average retail credit card hitting a new record high, as you mentioned, just as the holiday season approaches. A new study from Bankrate shows that the APR on store-branded cards is now at 28.9%, up from about 26.7% just a year ago. That means if you finance a $1,000 purchase at that rate and only make minimum payments, that you'll be in debt for 50 months. Bankrate says if you ever carry a balance, a retail credit card probably doesn't make sense. But if you pay it in full and avoid the interest rate, then they can work for you. A lot of them offer points and cash back, but you really don't want to pay those high rates. Meantime, Instagram is testing a new feature to let users make custom stickers from their own photos and pop them into Reels or Stories. The tool selects the subject of the photo and removes the background, creating a free-floating sticker. Instagram says in addition to creating stickers from photos saved on your phone, you can also, or you will also be able to choose from eligible images on the site. And Apple may be planning a surprise announcement on the iMac. Bloomberg is reporting that the company will release a new 24-inch iMac as soon as October 30th, just days before Apple reports quarterly earnings. Apple last updated the iMac in the first half of 2021. It's expected to include the latest version of Apple's own semiconductor chip, the M3. Back to you guys.
All right. Bertha, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, a new study shows that your diet might be the key to preventing stress.
Research published in the journal Nature Mental Health found that the Mediterranean diet could help reduce symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder.
Let's bring in NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel for more on this. Hi, Dr. Patel, great to have you. So walk us through this research. What is the link between this particular diet and PTSD?
Yes, Savannah, Joe, they talk about the gut as the second brain these days, and this study reinforces why. So they took about 200 people and separated them into 3 groups: people who have had PTSD and possible trauma, people who did not have any PTSD but did have a history of trauma, and then people who had neither any history of PTSD, active PTSD, or history of trauma. Looked at all 3 groups and basically found over time This is looking at blood and stool samples, their diet, their self-reported behaviors, and found that people who had a Mediterranean diet were having a lower likelihood of an association of these PTSD symptoms. So does it mean that one can cause the other? No, but it does mean that there's something about a Mediterranean diet. We can break down what that means. It really helps to reduce those symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah, let's break it down. The diet includes eating things like fresh fruits, veggies, nuts, seeds, olive oil, fish, all those things we keep saying we should be eating. What about these food groups makes this diet so beneficial compared to others?
Yeah, Joe, so that's something that is what I think is exciting scientists the most, because it's not just this Mediterranean diet, you know, buying some sort of recipes and cooking that. It's really breaking down the foods as you just did. So when you break down those healthy foods, fruits, vegetables, fish, what we find is that we have a higher association of the good gut bacteria, what we call the microbiome, kind of that, all that stuff that feeds the nervous system of your gut. And we see higher levels of certain bacteria that actually are what we want to see. And they're not easy to take in pill form. You can't just run out and buy it. You really do have to get it from the foods. And that's what those superfoods help us do.
Dr. Patel, experts say that reducing inflammation might be a key part of this here, in this diet success in reducing these particular symptoms of PTSD. Right. Why is that? Why is it that reducing inflammation helps, and how can we do that? Is there something to keep in mind in addition to this diet?
Yeah, so a lot of things can help us reduce inflammation, including good behaviors, like getting enough sleep, stuff that we've been talking about, just moving your body, having healthy relationships, kind of removing the toxicity out of your life, including toxic social media. All of these things help to reduce inflammation pathways. Think about your body as a series of like chemical interactions, and these inflammation pathways kind of get kickstarted like fire sparks inside of your body when you do have a lot of these like toxic pathways or kind of the bad foods. When you counteract that or combat that with better behaviors, better food, more sleep so your body can kind of heal and rest, you're breaking down some of those inflammatory pathways and decreasing those levels of inflammation. It's your body's signal to tell you that you're in stress, and doing things that decrease that stress, including good foods, can help with all of the above. So it's the second brain. Your gut is the second brain, and treat it that way.
It feels like this just adds to the list of all the good things about the Mediterranean diet.
Yeah.
Too. We always just keep hearing good things about it.
It's so true. Dr. Kavita Patel, thank you very much.
Coming up, Halloween in Hollywood this year. It might look a little different.
We're all used to the biggest celebs dressing up as iconic characters, but in the midst of a historic actors' strike, SAG-AFTRA is setting some new ground rules. We will explain next.
Back now with a controversial new rule about Halloween costumes for striking SAG-AFTRA members. And spoiler alert, it's not going over very well. NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas has more.
Good morning. Hollywood actors have been on strike for more than 100 days. And while the battle between union leaders and the studios has been in the spotlight, this morning, with Halloween right around the corner, the union's crackdown on costumes is causing some controversy.
Halloween in Hollywood has long been a spooky spectacle, with actors dressing up as iconic characters from TV and film. But this year, amid the longest strike in its history, SAG-AFTRA is advising its members to choose costumes inspired by generalized characters, saying don't post photos of costumes inspired by struck content. This rule means that members should avoid dressing up as popular characters like Super Mario, Wednesday Addams, and even Barbie, because doing so could be seen as promoting shows and movies for the studios.
Hi, Barbie!
Hi, Ken! The announcement met with criticism online.
Instead of fixing the problem, they're just coming up with these weird, crazy rules.
Even top talent speaking out. Former SAG-AFTRA president Melissa Gilbert writing, "Literally no one cares what anyone wears for Halloween. Please tell me that you're going to make this rule go away and go negotiate." Ryan Reynolds taking a sarcastic jab, posting, "I look forward to screaming scab at my 8-year-old all night. She's not in the union, but she needs to learn." In response, the union has clarified its stance, saying that the rules were meant to help members avoid promoting struck work, and it does not apply to anyone's kids. The crackdown comes as actors have been on the picket line for more than 100 days. Talks are set to resume tomorrow with the AMPTP, which represents studios and streamers, including NBC News' parent company, NBC Universal. It's the first time that both sides will meet since negotiations broke down nearly 2 weeks ago after union leaders said that they had asked streamers for an additional 57 cents per subscriber per year. Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos slammed that idea.
It just felt like a bridge too far.
Since then, A-listers, including George Clooney, Tyler Perry, and Scarlett Johansson, offering up a portion of their own earnings in an attempt to push the union towards a resolution, presenting a plan that would remove the cap on top-earning actors' dues and bring in $150 million over 3 years, as first reported by Deadline. But their pitch was turned down by the actors' union.
Although that's extremely generous, and we accept that graciously, the only contributions that can go into our pension and health funds must be from the employer.
Now, with Hollywood on hold, pressure is mounting for both sides to make a deal.
As for what's ahead for this upcoming round of negotiations, the CEO of Netflix says that he's optimistic about these talks and that they are working as hard as they can. All of this coming against a ticking clock to resume filming projects before the end of the year. Back to you.
All right, Chloe, thank you.
Well, the Philadelphia Eagles are showing off their talents both on and off the field as they get ready to release, get this, their second holiday album. NBC News anchor Chanel Jones sat down with the team and has a special first look.
Under bright lights in the city of brotherly love, two of the NFL's top teams, the Philadelphia Eagles and Miami Dolphins, squaring off overnight in a high-stakes showdown. Philly soaring to victory to move to 6-1, tied for the best record in the NFL. Jason Kelce continuing his incredible streak, extending his Eagles franchise record to 146 consecutive starts.
Congratulations are in order for you. You set an Eagles record for starting the most games in a row.
Yeah. He's still doing it.
The center is a veteran on the field. And now in the music studio, where he and his teammates, offensive tackles Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson, have been working on their second holiday album. We got an exclusive first look of the players tackling a Mariah Carey classic.
Make my wish come.
These NFL players showing how the Eagles have some songbirds.
All I want for Christmas is you.
How did that feel to take on that song? I mean, it's a classic.
Yeah, it was kind of nerve-wracking at first, just because you didn't know, can't really do the same key as the Queen of the holidays. I mean, she's incredible.
Yeah.
So we kind of had to dial it back a couple keys.
A Philly special Christmas special comes after their first album was a hit, turning casual singers into recording artists.
We sing around a lot. Like Lane and I go in the same car after a game sometime and we'll listen to songs.
But it's not like Christmas at all.
That first day of the studio.
Yeah, then it got real when we got there.
In what way did it get real?
Well, you're doing vocal warm-ups with Coach E.
When you realize your vocal ability may not be, as easy as...
Australian offensive tackle Jordan Mailata stunned Jason Kelce last year with his rendition of White Christmas.
I said, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
For the latest album, he took on a duet with Philly legend Patti LaBelle. This time, he was the speechless one.
I got stage fright.
Really?
Like, real bad. Yeah, they were like, your mic's working. Your mic's working. Every time I opened my mouth to sing with her, I just couldn't.
Yeah.
It's all for a good cause. That album raised more than $1 million for local charities.
Santa Claus is coming.
They've also garnered a legion of new fans, including Jason Kelce's daughter, Wyatt.
Hi, Uncle Trev.
Who's a rising star on social media.
Wyatt all last Christmas, she kept asking to hear Santa is coming to town. They're all into it for sure.
Philly locals are into it too. One family bidding for an awkward Christmas photo with the trio. The proceeds benefiting the Eagles Autism Foundation. The players feeling lots of love from the Philadelphia community.
I think once they found out, it wasn't a joke and there was actually some little bit of talent on there and ability, it made it a lot better.
As for future Eagles holiday albums, well, they may have a special cameo in mind. So, true story, on the way here, I turned on the music and I hear you guys, and it was a genuine, joy.
Good.
And the person I was in the car with, they're like, what's going on? Who is this? And I'm like, well, it's secret, but we're listening to a song. It's the Eagles. These are the Eagles players. And true story, are they singing with Taylor Swift?
Yeah, maybe not this one. Not this time around.
No?
I don't know who that is.
It can happen. Talk about raising money for charity. You could break the internet with that duet.
That would be pretty incredible. But
maybe volume 3.
Yeah, maybe in the future.
Maybe volume 3.
Merry Christmas, Philadelphia. And a Happy New Year.
Let's hope on volume 3. Wouldn't that be awesome? Our thanks to Chanel Jones for that story. The full album will be available on December 1st, and the proceeds will again go to those nonprofits in the Philly area.
What a great area. What talent, my goodness.
I know, they were actually all fabulous singers.
That Mariah Carey song is not an easy one to sing.
A few of them. I'm like, dang, those are some good notes they hit. Yeah, it's awesome. I love that we're also at the time for Christmas content.
And the Cher Christmas album came out already, so here we are. It's here. Forget Halloween. That does it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.